this off because I'm taller than I am. I want to talk to you about municipal telecommunications. There's ways that... I know that was you, Jeff. Tell you about how the free market has kind of failed us in this respect. So municipal telecom is the idea that a network is built and or financed by a city or county or other municipal entity. The city maintains or takes ownership of the network. The financing is then paid off via revenues. You might ask how it works. It can be HFC or FTTP, residential or closed, residential or commercial, open or closed. There's a lot of different ways that you can set it up. Don't ask that guy. He doesn't know anything about it. Open and closed are kind of weird terms because we always think of, well, I've got cable or DSL. Closed means there's one provider on the network. That would be like cable or DSL. And open means that you can pick a provider. You can say, I want this person to give me my service. You might not understand the term retail provider. I mean, you remember back in the days of dial-up, you'd actually have a few dozen companies you could pick from to provide your internet service. If you hated one, you could pick another. You might remember some of these companies that are no longer with us. It sounds pretty good because you've got some competitive choice. People are actually going for your business. They want it. The reason you would want municipal telecom is the incumbents won't invest in higher speeds. You have limited choice, high prices, terrible customer service. You might ask yourself, well, can't private companies do it? Well, they're fleecing us right now. Right now, they've got over $300 billion of our tax dollars from the Telco Act of '96. They promised to give us 45 meg both ways to all homes in the country, which they haven't done. I can't get that. You might say a new company could come in, but most overbuilders end up failing. There's a lot of barriers to entry, such as universal service requirements. Getting on the pole is tough. It costs a lot of money. It takes 7 to 10 years to even make money at it. So what this means is that the US is paying a lot more per megabit than a lot of other countries are. The speeds are slower than South Korea, Japan, and my personal favorite, Latvia. And telecommunications companies have terrible customer satisfaction. They're always leading the pack for how to do terribly. So most of us only have access to either cable or DSL. There's some areas where you might only have one of them. Even here in Salt Lake, there are places where you can only get one. And wireless is a terrible option. It's usually really slow, it's capped, it's unreliable. Municipal telecom can fix this because it's usually giving you increased competitive choice, which helps to bring down some prices. Focus is always on the service, not the shareholders, and it's universal service. It's everywhere. And this competition will bring you lower prices. You don't have to worry about broadband caps like what Comcast is doing. You use too much, you're out of here. And you're usually going to get better customer service because people actually have to compete for your business now, which is a really big thing. I like that. There are a lot of people who are doing it right now, all over the country. Bristol, Virginia, Chattanooga, Loma Linda, Lafayette. Here in Utah, we have a lot of places that are doing it. You've probably heard of some of these networks like iProvo and Utopia that have taken the plunge. They've started doing this thing. SFCN is one of the smaller ones. It's in Spanish Fork. It has a cable network, so it's using fiber and coax cable. You can see the price on it is actually pretty competitive, but the city is the only provider on the network. They got in early. iProvo's been around for a while. It's only in Provo. It's all fiber all the way. You can see the prices are pretty good. It's also a closed network. Right now, Veracity Networks is the only one on there, but there's the chance that it might be open again, so you could actually pick a provider. And Utopia is the most widely known one. Most people have heard of Utopia. It's in 11 cities, all fiber, really fast connections, and there's a dozen different companies that are providing services on it. It's kind of a big deal. That's a lot of competitive choice for you to pick from. It gets done by a few different ways. Cities can traditionally issue a bond just to build the network. You can do a special assessment area where only the subscribers are paying for it. Or like Powell, Wyoming is doing, you can do a public-private partnership where a private company comes and builds it. They get to operate it exclusively for a while, and then they turn it back to the city. And there are things that can keep you from getting it here. Closed networks are banned. Spanish Fork got in early. Cities can't bond for more than 50% of the construction cost, which is a problem. And you can bet that CenturyLink, Quest, Comcast, they're all up in your business about it. And it matters a lot because fiber connections bring increased telecommuting. It's higher employment. People participate in the job market much longer if they have broadband. And you get a lot more startup businesses. So this is all good for the economy. So if you want to find out more about how to do it, start talking to your friends and neighbors. Start talking to your mayor and city council about it. Run a website, freeutopia.org, where you can find out more.